welcome to San Diego Comic-Con 2016. We are out here in the Gaslamp. Obviously, we've got the awesome San Diego Convention Center here right behind us. This is our annual tips and visual guide to all things Comic-Con. So we're gonna be making our way around the Gaslamp, around the convention center, and bringing you tips for all things. In addition to what we'll be doing today, we'll have a bunch of snippet videos or shorter videos as well that'll focus on things specifically, whether it be Hasbro or Funko or Lego or things like that. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, check that all out. Also, definitely follow along with all the SDCC news with the SDCC unofficial blog at sdccblog.com. They will be having all sorts of information as we go throughout the season, non-stop updates all the time, as well as over on our iTunes and Stitcher. You can find our podcast, Parks and Cons. We'll have tips there. So let's go ahead and start making our way around the convention center and talk some Comic-Con. All right, we're here next to the Petco Park, where it's home to the Petco Interactive Zone, and there's frequently fun things to do here. One of the things we find is that a lot of times everything going on in the Petco Interactive Zone gets really popular, but a lot of times people don't really know what's going on until deeper into the con, Saturday, Sunday. The other thing is it doesn't need a badge, or I should say everything we're going to talk about is historically speaking, so it doesn't need a badge. So more and more families gather throughout the weekend as they want to see what this Comic-Con thing's all about. So definitely suggest if you're going to be checking it out, try and hit it Thursday, Friday. I know from firsthand experience it's really difficult to do that because you're so excited about being at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's hard to want to leave the floor to head over here. That said, there's a lot of experiences. Last year, they had that Snoopy slide, they had the giveaways there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, you could just walk over and get pizza with no problems at all on Thursday, and that became an absolute crush of humanity by the time you hit Saturday and Sunday. So definitely follow along online, see what's going on. We'll be out here the Monday before the con covering whatever it is that's all going to fill this area. As we're recording, we're 5 weeks out, so we'll see what actually develops with all of this. But definitely follow along with us, follow along with SDCC blog. We'll show you what's going to be there. Then you can check it out, decide if it's worth your time. It might be a thing to hit that Thursday morning time if you're not already getting in line for exclusives or other fun swag things at the show. Or if you just don't have tickets one of the days, it's definitely a fun place to check out and make it a stop on your weekend. All right, so we're taking a look real quick at the line, because obviously lines to get into Comic-Con are all the talk. There's a great guide over on sdccblog.com, but we want to take kind of a look at this visual here. And so behind us, obviously, we have Hall H. That is going to be your access point to the con in the early morning hours. Everything pre-6 a.m. is all lined up out here. So first off, we've got the Hall H line. You've probably seen the tents before over there. You're going to have massive groups of people there waiting for the big panels. Obviously, everything, as with any of the panels, is going to be greatly dependent on the entire day in the con. You know, if you've got Marvel at 5 p.m. Saturday, you know that people are going to be lining up probably 5 p.m. Friday, if not earlier. And it doesn't matter if there's nothing else of interest the entire day. So always keep in mind the whole schedule of any room when you're looking at panel rooms. In addition to that, you'll have the everything else line. So we get a lot of questions about that every year. Where do I go if I want to get Hasbro? Where do I go if I want to get into Ballroom 20? It's the everything else line. Now, obviously, again, as we're filming all this, it's always subject to change. A couple days before Comic-Con, there could be announcements, but as of now, as it has been, everybody here is going to be getting into one of two lines, Hall H or the everything else line. Once you get in, and we'll talk a little bit more about the everything else line later, but once you go in, you'll splinter into different areas, whether it's for the floor, to try and get your exclusives, swag, signings, whatever it might be. Now, in addition to that, there may be some changes this year with attendees getting their badges in advance mailed to them. There may be a little bit more clogging up of the lines early on, as people aren't going to have to be in line for registration, so they can be in there, especially as we're looking at preview night and Thursday. People are going to come in with those badges already, so it'll be really interesting to see how that does affect people wanting to get on the floor for preview night. The last thing on this line, just wanted to hit on from this vantage point, is just, I think one thing we'll come back to over and over again in this video is about being really dynamic. You want to have a big picture plan. You want to have backup plans for your backup plans for your backup plans, but at the end of the day, Comic-Con is all about making changes and being dynamic and shifting left to right as opportunities present themselves. The best example for us last year was 8 a.m. Saturday morning. We got to the con. We had a whole set of plans related to swag, exclusive signings. We decided to give Hall H a shot because people got so worn out from the 24, 36, 48 hours, whatever it was that people were waiting for Star Wars on Friday. We found that the line just was nowhere near as long. We were monitoring social media on the drive in. Saturday was going to be kind of our rest day. We were getting to the con later by getting there at 8 a.m. We got into line back on the marina, and we thought we might just have a shot. They were done handing out wristbands. Maybe we'll get into the room. They're going to be doing WB superheroes in there. They're going to be doing Deadpool, X-Men, all sorts of fun stuff. We waited it out. We got in by 9 a.m. and we spent an entire day in there from 9 a.m. to, I think we left around midnight because they did the WB DC TV stuff at night. So it was an awesome day. It was never in our plan. If you would have asked us before the con, I would have bet hundreds of dollars that there's no way we would have been in Hall H on Saturday. But that's what being open to the experience is about. One note, if you do end up in that sort of situation, you want to plan, because we didn't think we were going to be in Hall H. We didn't pack full of food and drinks. We get into Hall H. Well, they have very limited offerings. I mean, you can get a bathroom pass to run out and get stuff, but we really didn't eat or drink well all day long. It was just kind of bottled water and bottled soda and things like that. The snack bar closed, I think, at 8 or 9 at night. So it was a long day to be in there. So if you are going to make that Hall H try, make sure to pack up on the goods very good, because a lot of people, once they get into Hall H, they don't leave until they close the things out late at night. So, all right, let's go ahead and move to the next spot. All right, we're here at one of our favorite places at Comic-Con, right here in front of the Hilton Bayfront. Now, full disclosure, we've never stayed at the Hilton Bayfront. It's always been a bit too pricey for our time at the con, but that said, we spend a lot of time there as a break spot. We love going to Vela for dinner or lunch. It's a great breakaway, and the prices, to be honest, are very competitive and not much more than anywhere else at the con. Last year, we sat next to maybe one table over from M. Night Shyamalan. A lot of celebs show up there throughout the convention. It's a really fun spot. In addition, there's charging spots, there's a Starbucks, all kinds of things here at the Bayfront, which is a really nice break. The other big thing about it is you don't have the same competition of traffic to get over here, because we're on the same side of the convention center. When you try and cross over to the main area there by Petco, that walk can take up to a half hour because of the lights, the masses all crushing to get across there for lunch or dinner or those main traffic times of the day, waiting for lights. It is crazy. And so anytime you can stay on this side of the convention center, it's an advantage, and the Bayfront is a great break from that. In addition to that, you can sit and you've got a view like this, and a lot of times people think we're crazy for talking about this, because they're like, I come to Comic-Con for exclusives, I come to Comic-Con to see Harrison Ford, Star Wars, Star Trek. I do as well, but I also love the fact that we're in like the most beautiful place in the world, and I want to take some time, even in the madness of fighting for my Hasbro exclusive, to enjoy a little bit of this beautiful weather, the beautiful water. And so coming out to this part of the convention, it's just less traffic. I mean, in the end, everywhere you go around Comic-Con is busy, even way out by the Hotel Circle and those areas. But this is kind of a nice breaking spot for it a little bit. Now, if we look down this way, we've got Sales Pavilion. And one thing really to know about Sales is a lot of times in the morning, we know people will try to use that as an access point for Comic-Con. And the thing about that is that is closed off by security. Now, not to say that people don't slip through there, but it's not supposed to be an access point. Everybody pre 6 a.m. and beyond is accessing the convention from over here, as we showed in the last little snippet over there on the bridge. And so when you get in line, if you're coming from the backside, don't make that long walk to the back of the Sales just to get blocked out and then have to walk and double back all around. The other thing we want to say about this side down looking at Sales is that Lego line. And we'll talk more about the Lego giveaways and kind of strategies for them or thinking about that. That said, that line can stretch really, really long. And so last year, an hour before the Lego giveaways began, the line was literally to the other side, the Marriott, and it went to 2:45 on at least 2 of the days. So I mean, you're talking about a big chunk of about 3 hours that it could take to get your draw at randomly getting a minifigure. So again, we'll talk more about Lego in a separate video, but I thought it's a good time to kind of talk about that in this setting. Last thing in this area, this lawn has really become prime territory. We always loved it as a getaway. We would just come out here, get fresh air. Now Comic-Con is all about real estate, and this is a valuable section here. So whether it's Teen Titans Go or FX or anything else, you can count on some really fun stuff going here, and it'll start building at least by Monday before the con. So we'll be here on the floor. You can check it out as it's all coming together, but it's really exciting. You never know fully what it's all going to be until opening day, and it's definitely going to be awesome stuff. That said, because of its proximity to the con, it is going to be super busy. It's usually one of the most busy off-sites and can take long times to get into those events. So trying again, much like we said with Petco Interactive, try to favor the earlier side of the con if at all possible. All right, so now we've moved over to the outside of the Marriott Marquis, and I'm getting off camera and behind the camera for a second just to give kind of a wider view here of everything that we're looking at and not clog up the picture with anybody in front of the camera. So as we look, this is the brand new area that's been built into the Marriott Marquis. So if you came by last year, which I'm sure you did if you were at Comic-Con, this was all under construction and nothing like what it is now. So it adds a lot more space. It's nice to have that coming back. There will be multiple uses for it. We know that a new Comic-Con merchandise area, if you haven't checked that out, Comic-Con has put out some great pre-sale merchandise of the shirts and stuff. So you can order those and then pick them up over here. We've got the film festival, some smaller panels in the ballroom, things like that. Also, we'll be having the Mattel Mattel pickup area. And as in the past with that, most important about Mattel, and there'll be more about that as the Maddie pre-sales are out and all of that, but most important there, do make sure to know the hours for the Maddie pickup, and make sure not to head over to the hotel until you know that the line's not very long, because the line really fluctuates and can be anywhere from a couple hours long to basically walk up. And so what we always do is we wait to watch and monitor social media. And as people are tweeting out updates, we retweet them. And when there's a soft spot in our schedule and in what it looks like the line there, that's when we head over. So we're not in any massive line. So do keep an eye on that. If you head over there without us, or you're staying in the Marriott, please tweet us if you see updates, and we'll retweet those so everybody can be a little bit smarter about the use of our time with that. Do beware though, again, of the hours. If you don't pick up your merch, you do not get a refund, and it is just gone back out on the floor and you are out. Also, make sure to understand they do have some pretty long lunch breaks in the middle of the day, and so if you get there too close to one of those and they close up, make sure to check with them before you get in line that you're going to be okay in terms of what types of breaks they're taking. Also over here we have the Manchester, also with the fulfillment room pickups. Last year was a really weak year for panels and fulfillment room tickets in general. That's what we always recommend, keeping an eye out for dropped fulfillment room tickets. We've had a lot of success with that in various years, but last year was just a weak year in general. I mean, we spent all day Saturday in Hall H, and if my memory serves me correct, the only fulfillment room ticket we even picked up was for Hateful Eight and got a cup. But I mean, you would have thought with WB being in there, whether it was for the TV or the movies, just something that we've gotten a bunch of fulfillment room tickets with Fox and X-Men and all that, Warcraft, but it was a really slow year for fulfillment room tickets. So we'll talk more about that in our swag and freebies video, which will be a whole separate thing, but do keep that in mind as well. Now, most important, why we're doing kind of a long shot here is, you see, this is a really long walk, and so do make sure to take that into consideration when you're deciding when you go. We do not go to the fulfillment room until the con is over. We go Sunday after everything's done. That's something we've done for years. I mean, maybe we'll switch it up this year, but that's currently the plan. So once the con closes up Sunday, we make our way all the way down there, and we just don't want to use any convention time for it, to be honest. So we'd rather wait till the con's over and then we'll head over there. So that said, if you're going to go at any other time, do make sure to plan accordingly, because this is a really long walk. And then when you figure the walkways are going to be super crowded, because that's what Comic-Con is, right? Super crowded. It's part of the fun of everything, is battling out those crowds, so plan accordingly. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next spot. All right, we've moved a block or so out of the convention center area, down just the street from the Children's Museum, but we're at Market and First, and it goes without saying, if you've ever stayed downtown at Comic-Con, you know Ralph's. It's a great spot to pick up waters, food, snacks, things like that. Obviously, if you're driving in the way we do, you're staying on the outskirts, we go to places like Target or whatever else, but for those of you staying in the Gaslamp district, if you don't already know it, a must spot. We always feel like, almost like, should we include this in the visual guide, because it's pretty much common knowledge. That said, there's a lot of first-time attendees that check out our videos, so we want to share it. So easy spot. There's also 7-Elevens, a couple of them around, CVS, things like that, but this is a little bit more central for a lot of the people staying, like the Manchester, Grand, and the Marriott, and it also obviously just has a wider selection and a little bit cheaper than a place like 7-Eleven. So definitely check it out if you're staying down here for your water and food needs. All right, we're wrapping up this video, and again, we've got a series of videos coming, so definitely check out the YouTube channel to follow along with all these, also SDCCblog.com. But that said, before we wrap everything up, just want to sell up a couple things with the convention center. So as we're looking at the outside of the convention center, one thing to draw a point to is Comic-Con is really good about opening up early, before most of their posted time. So for example, in the morning, they usually have the floor open almost without doubt by 9 a.m., even though it'll say 9:30 a.m. in the guidebooks. They're really good about that. It's the in and out rule, as I call it, is in and out. Usually tries to be open by 10 a.m. even though it says 10:30 a.m. everywhere. So do keep that in mind if you're trying to get to the floor at that set opening time. It's going to be too late, or I shouldn't say too late in general, but just too late for grabbing any exclusives or going for the big swag or things like that. So they're really good with that. Also, again, we talked about at the top of the videos, with the badges being mailed this year, it's going to be a little bit of a different environment all the way around, and you can plan on preview night especially. I'm guessing people are going to be in line much earlier than normal, so keep an eye on that as well. When we go in, we'll do a whole video of the actual floor and talk about the queue up areas and where to access different points, so do watch for that video. We're going to break that out. Normally we include that in this video. This year we're going to do it separately as its own map. The biggest thing, make sure to be really dynamic about how you spend your time at Comic-Con. I highly suggest have a plan. have a team, but most importantly, be really open to change and variables, because there's so many variables and there's going to be so many things that no one's going to know is going to happen. And they're fun and they're exciting. You're gonna bump into LL Cool J and get an autograph. You're gonna find yourself in Hall H. You're gonna get a free t-shirt walking outside the con. All sorts of amazing things. That's the best thing about Comic-Con. It's why my adrenaline gets pumping the second I see this convention center, is because I know no matter how much I plan, there's gonna be amazing things that I didn't even know about. And so do plan that. Last year, Entertainment Earth, coming into it, I never thought that I was gonna see Sam Jones, the old Flash Gordon, and get his autograph. I didn't think I was gonna end up Hall H and see, you know, Ryan Reynolds out there talking about Deadpool. These were all unplanned things that became, you know, the most memorable moments really of the con for me. So really be open to that. Lastly with that, make sure to get enough food, get enough sleep. You know, people always comment, and I know a lot of times it's jokingly, but when we do put things out on our SDCC tips on Twitter and stuff like that, of like, oh, who has time for sleep? Our goal at Comic-Con is when 7 p.m. on Sunday hits, that we want an extra day of it. I mean, that's really how we like to end the con. And so we find a way, somehow, some way, to get enough sleep, get enough food, get enough rest within there, and still try and do everything. So make sure to take care of yourself. You don't want to be sick on Sunday, not enjoying the show, and definitely you don't want to feel frustrated. If you find yourself or anyone you're with feeling frustrated during the con, and there's frustrating moments, I mean, there's panic attacks as all the people are around and stuff like that, but the thing is you work too hard, it's too expensive, everything's a challenge, from parking to hotel to tickets. It was so hard to get there. My opinion is there's just no time, there's no option for not being totally excited and happy the entire time you're there. From dawn to dusk, to way beyond dusk, I guess, you want to be excited and enjoy it. So if you find yourself in moments of not enjoying the experience, whether it's because you're waiting in line for an exclusive, waiting in line for a panel, or whatever else, really think about withdrawing from it and resetting the table. If you have in mind that there's just 1 or 2 or 3 things that you have to do at the con, or it's not going to be fun, it sets yourself up for disappointment and disaster. And so take it all with a grain of salt. Obviously, everybody has their own opinion. This is just one person coming to you with their opinion, so that's all we have here in the guide. So we'll have more information again with a series of videos also on the podcast. Last year I think we had 3 prep podcasts. You can check those out on iTunes and Stitcher, and obviously tons of information, the most information by far about San Diego Comic-Con at SDCCblog.com. So we'll wrap up here and we'll see you in line at San Diego Comic-Con 2016.